Hey you guys, welcome back to the channel. We review anything, everything. And I've actually been meaning to get into this review for a while. I think I want to say I purchased this close to maybe it was the middle or beginning of the summertime, somewhere around that time. We are in November now. We're coming close to Black Friday time. So I really wanted to get this review out before Black Friday because I have purchased this. This is the Blue Yeti AC180 portable power station. I purchased this um, on sale on Amazon. I want to say it was close to like a Prime Day sale. And I know coming back around to Black Friday, you'll get probably that same type of deal. Now, this currently right now, I see it online advertising on Amazon for $600, $599, and it says limited deal. Advertising it like, that's a good price, and the normal price is like $750. When I purchased this on Prime Day sale, which Black Friday should be able to match that same sale, I was able to purchase this for about 550 with the 200-watt solar panel, which the 100-watt solar panel is like the base one. So the 200 one is a little more expensive, and that in itself is valued at somewhere about $200. So it was like getting that for free pretty much, and $50 off of what this is currently going for, just the station alone. So that's why I wanted to kind of get this review out just before Black Friday, so anyone who's interested in this can get onto it. While I was putting this on my table, the first thing I thought to myself is, this is the heaviest. If you want the heaviest paperweight that you could ever find, purchase this, because this is super heavy, very heavy. But at the same time, too, the output of this is pretty substantial. It falls into a range where it's usable for bigger things, yet still small enough that it's not impossible to carry it around. You can lift it. It's not you know something you can't lift and move around, but it's not a portable thing that you're going to hold in your hand. You're going to really settle it down wherever you're going. Now, I'm just going to bring up some of the specs on this real quick. I had to do a lot of research actually to kind of really understand how these power stations work in terms of the specs, and what output really means, because it's a little confusing trying to, if you don't know nothing about these kind of electrical measures. And I'm not really too familiar with them. I'm a little bit familiar with on the smaller level in terms of, watts, like 30 watts, 65 watts when it comes to you using, like, say, a laptop, or like my laptop takes 30 watts of power, that it needs to, in terms of the current flow, the flow of how much power it needs at one moment, it needs 30 watts. I bought a 65-watt anchor charger before. I know that's for some of the more powerful computers. Then cell phones require a lot less than that, and just kind of understanding that is a little bit more understandable to me now, because we live in the age of always using computers and your phone. But when it comes to larger things, understanding the output versus the initial surge charge and all these other kind of different terms gets a little confusing. So this one, the AC180 is labeled as 100, 1152 watt hours of life, and it says the output is up to 1800 watts. So essentially, what that means is that the watt output is greater than the actual battery uh, life itself, which, from my understanding of it, from the research I did, which is kind of like a positive, because what it's saying is, while you have, I guess, 1152 watt hours, meaning that you would be able to discharge that many watts in an hour, is how much of the full lifespan of the battery is in terms of like a full charge. That the 1800-watt output means that you would probably be able to operate this for less than an hour with a higher discharge than what the total amount is. So say if it's 1152 watt hours and is how much it stores, and if the output was also 1152 watt hours, you would then be able to put at that max output for an hour. But if the output is greater than it by almost like 0.5 greater than it, then you would be able to output for probably 30 minutes. And that's essentially what this equation out, pretty much is to my understanding of it. If anyone knows better than I do, you can correct me in the comments down below if that's not how it works, but that's my understanding of it from the research I did. Also, it says it can do 0 to 80% of it being charged itself from an AC plug in, I think that's my understanding of it, in 45 minutes. So it has somewhat of fast charging. And the solar power, so if I connect the one that I purchased for it, which is the 200-watt one, then essentially it says, from my understanding, it's about roughly 4 hours, somewhere between like 4 and 6 hours, somewhere in that ballpark range, to fully charge from sunlight, which is not bad considering that, if you were outside and say if you're in a camping area, once daylight hits, let it charge up fully and it shouldn't be a problem. That's not bad timing on solar, in my opinion. Um, Other than that, it has a lot of great ratings already. So we're going to jump into this. Sorry for the length of the video already, but just wanted to kind of really break that down. Now, there are other stations that are smaller and that are bigger, but essentially what this should be able to power, and this is the reason why I purchased this. I purchased it in place of a generator because nowadays, you know what, I'm going to have to pause this to get it out, and then we will jump back when I have it out. All right, so we have it out of the box. I put it reverse facing to start because I wanted to just be able to zoom in and let you guys take a look at some of the specs on here. Because for those who kind of really understand this very well, you can pause the video and kind of read through it yourself. It says inputs, AC 120 volt, 50/60 hertz, 15A max. I don't know what all this stuff means. DC, PV. I think the cigarette lighter one. It says the voltage and whatnot over there. Battery capacity, it tells you right there. It tells you the output, maximum output, 1800 watts. Like I mentioned before, you have different connectors, wireless USB, blah, blah, all this other kind of stuff, USB-A, USB-C. What's also nice too is, so it is supposed to have wireless charging on the top. And, okay, so far it's not working, but I got to see if maybe it's just, I have to turn it on. So let's see. So where I'm standing right now, the leverage on this is very hard. But once again, this is the whole unit right here. Let me bring it back a little bit. It's all in frame. Handles here on the top really make it easy to grasp, which is great. So taking it out the box once I had access to these handles was actually really great. It just lets you get a better handling on it, so it makes it feel a lot lighter because of that. I don't know if you can see it, but there's wireless charging at the top. And I know you can't see that well because of the focus, but it says wireless charging output 15 watts. There's a little sticker on it too. It says, do not place metal objects in the wireless charging area. So yes. So obviously you see the ports here. You have your AC ports, which these are the ports that will do the 1800 watt output. So when you talk about having that over output levels greater than what its total max is, because here you can see it right here, 1800 watts output, the total max is 1152 watt hours. You can output more than it actually has, meaning that it would probably be, like I said before, about 30 minutes for that max output. That's going to come from these. The rest of these, obviously, for cell phones and things of that sort, will do their thing, but they are obviously for a different purpose. More, cell phone, your computer, whatever the case is. I'm going to assume that this right here, it says 100 watts, which, like I said before, for things like computers, most computers aren't above 65 watts. So this should be able to handle any computer. I don't know the wattage on these, on the output on those. I can't really speak to that per se. I don't think those will charge computers, but I will give it a try. I'm going to pull out some USB cables in a moment and see what those can power up. This obviously is your DC charger for, you know, your kind of the things that we use a cigarette lighter. Let's see. Look, the lock point is what it says. I don't know what that means. It says that side and that side. So I guess not really sure. I guess it says like, put it in that way, not upside down. So it's those are the points where it locks. This right here, DC PV input. So this is how we would plug it into the wall. Now let's see what comes with this little box here. What I will do is try to put this a little more back. And I'll bring it back up further closer to the screen in a bit. I just want to be able to unbox and show some of these things that come with it. So you have, this looks to be, let me see. So what's interesting, I'm trying to figure this out. This says DC PV input. Not really too sure if that goes connecting from, that's this right here. I don't know what kind of charging this is. So, I mean, only use solar panels with compatible. So, okay. So this is your solar panel input. So I guess this would go from here to the solar panel, because I know that the solar panels connect directly. Now, a couple of years back, I was looking, I always wanted to purchase one of these, and I was looking at them, and turn that on in the meantime. 54%. This has been, okay, it's got some fans. This has been sitting around for a little bit, and I will fully charge it. But one, I really like the input that they have there being displayed. I'll get into those details in a moment, but this right here is so I looking at I'm sorry, portable power stations in the past. I know that some of them used to have some kind of adapter or something of that sort for you to plug into the solar panels. I'm sorry. And this one plugs in straight. So that's one thing I like about it. And I knew that it would be compatible directly with no kind of extras, because it had the, this came as a package. I'm not going to do the solar panel right now. I'll probably do that in another point in time with another video, but just for right now, this would plug in. I'm going to assume that these are the prongs that plug directly into the solar port, and this one plugs into that. So you have that. This is your regular AC wall outlet. So I'm going to guess that there's probably somewhere on the back. I don't remember seeing that on the back. Okay, there is a side port. So let's quickly take a look at that. First, what I'm going to do before I even turn this around, I'm going to put my phone on top. I was trying to see if it was going to. Okay, so when you press DC, the DC button, then it starts to charge the top. So I guess you have to activate the ports. So the DC gives you the car port, the car cigarette lighter one, and it gives you these because they say DC output, and this one says DC output. This says DC input. So I don't know if you have to press the DC button to have the input come in, but at least for the outputs, you have to press the DC for those to come on. So I press that, and now my phone is doing wireless charging. Now, if I press it off, my phone is now not charging. So that's how that goes. And the AC one, obviously, you would press it, and now the AC outlets are on. So I guess that's a way to ensure you have power saving. This is so heavy. So here is the AC input from the wire here that comes with it. And like it says, you should be able to fully charge this. Well, it says 45 minutes to get from 0 to 80%. So the rest of it obviously is going to have a slower charge from 80% to 100, but nonetheless, it's pretty fast charging. You have your circuit breaker protection. I'm not sure what this is right here, but that's something that could be read up on in the instructions. We do have a little screw here, which is interesting because I wonder, does this go in there? And if so, what does that mean? I'm going to take my time with all this, so don't mind you guys. The video is going to probably be kind of long. See, well, here, this screws in right here, and I don't know why or what that means. So that's interesting. I will try to read up on that to figure out what that means. Now, this is the DC output, but it's interesting. Cigarette lighter must be fully inserted into the. So when it said lock points on it, it was just saying that these prongs would go on the side. But I guess we have to read the instructions to find out more details on that. I'm going to leave this out because I'm going to use that. And I don't know what that's for. So we're going to get into that later. But so on the left side, there's no ports. On the right side are these ports. And that's pretty much that. Circuit breaker, the charging area input. And then, we got to figure out what that little screw is. Manual is right here. So we're going to close this up for now. Just get it out of our way. Let's see here. Open up this manual really quick. Now, as I get this open, I just want to say, as continue what I was saying before, the reason why I purchased this is because some people like to have generators. If you live in a place where you're in the woods, you're off the grid, or I won't say off the grid, but say if you live in a town a town or a place where, it's very much more like in between every home is, I don't know, a couple 100 feet, and you got, you're just one of those towns that is not very like city like. Um, a lot of times when you have a power outage, those kind of places sometimes don't get power on as quick, and they'll have those kind of gas generators. But when you're closer to like a major city, like I am, even though I'm in the more residential kind of area where you have just houses that are separated by like a fence. It's not like your neighbor is a whole block away. You got to walk like 2 minutes just to reach the next house. Um, if we have a power outage, it won't be a power outage that's for 3 days or something like that. It's happened one time, but most of the time, if we have a power outage and Con Ed goes out, it's at best it's like 3 hours to like maybe 6 hours. The purpose of purchasing this is almost like a midpoint from a full-on generator to like a temporary kind of hold me off solution, so my refrigerator won't be off and all my food goes bad, because a lot of times we kind of hope that the refrigerator stays cold enough that we don't end up. Sorry, I was reading some of the instructions. That we don't end up, um, you know, our food ends up expiring, whatever the case is. So with this, I should be able to get about 4 hours. I'm not gonna be able to test this or anything like that right now, but I should be able to plug it in and get about 4 hours with my refrigerator being on. And with that, should be enough time to where the power gets back on, or say if the black edge, that the blackout, no power on the block, and I just need to be able to as well plug in my phones, plug in some lights. I can do that. So I very much recommend this for the level of someone who's not far from a major city. For those who are in the US, if you're about like maybe, we'll say 30 minutes or less from a major city, New York City, Chicago, LA, Miami, Philadelphia, any of those places that they're going to get your power on pretty quick, because they're like, okay, you live next to a big city. We have all the, usually the big cities, they get the power back on quick. This could suffice for you without you needing something even bigger. They do have bigger ones that are going to cost a bit more, but will hold you down for even longer if you feel you need that. There's even expandable uh, things that you can do where you can combine them to other sets. But generally speaking, if you bought something like this and then maybe you bought a second one, you can have this one charging while the other one is, being used. Say if it's still daylight outside, you had it with the solar panels, or whatever the combination is that you feel that's need for you. But what's great about them versus a gas generator is that a gas generator is going to be loud. You got to make sure you have gas. That's not the case with this. So looking at the manual, um, it says here the cigarette lighter comes included with it. Standard packaging. No, okay, this is standard packaging. Car charging cable. Okay, so the car charging one output is the charge from your car to it. Because I was wondering why would you have an output of the AC in that kind of form? That is to come into the battery. So you're not plugging that into here, you're plugging it from your car to into this port right here, the DC port here, or the solar panel one, which goes in there as well. That's this one that we just showed. This is the grounding screw, so that goes in there. I don't know if you need the grounding screw in there, how that works. Does it hinder it from being in there if you're not using it? But that's that, and you have your regular charging cable. Um, so yes, you got different other accessory types too that you can use to combine with it. So I'm not going to go over everything and read the whole manual right now and extend this video to be crazy long. You can pause that and read for yourself as far as what each icon is and whatnot. Power lifting mode, that generally means, from my understanding, is when you have it doing like an overload of stuff. And I have to read more into that because it's a possibility that this can go up to 2,700 watts for like extreme output charge. It says something like that on the Amazon site. Link's going to be in the description below, but I'm not 100% sure on how all that works. What I'm going to get into now is just plugging in a few items and just seeing how they work. So one thing that I'm actually pretty interested in just knowing, and I'm sure that it'll be an easy discovery, is I'm going to see if the regular USB, which I don't think it will do, will suffice to charge my laptop, which requires 30 watts. And I don't think that'll be the case. I just want to test, and then I should be able to press DC output. So we have DC power output on. So it shows the plug icon, but it says the battery is not charging because the output is not enough for that. Okay, and that's what I figured it would be, which is not a problem. Now I'm going to do the 100 watt, and it's awesome to have a 100 watt on here. And I can plug it in straight, and let's see if it's charging my laptop. Okay, right now it says it's not charging, but I'm going to give it a moment to see if it ends up changing and adapts. Okay, now it says power source adapter, now it's charging. So yes, it took a moment to kind of adapt and figure out what it was doing, but it's now charging from the power station. And here you could see the output. So let me zoom it up a little bit more. You could see the output now. Output 33. And then this tells you, I guess, how many, I don't know if that's how many hours before it would stop charging. I'm not really too sure. I wish I could turn the screen back on without actually doing anything, just a monitor button. But sorry about that. So I am going to plug in actually one of my lights that are about to run out of juice. Okay. Yeah, so it works. I'm at 72% now on my, I went up 1% on my laptop right now. So it works. And that's really basically it. I'm not going to be able to do a whole bunch of different tests and plugging a whole bunch of things in just because I have it here at my table and there's really no space for me to kind of really have it in other places. But with that being said, I'm just gonna really just kind of break down just my thoughts in general in terms of the aesthetics of it. I think that for its size and what it brings to the table, it is pretty light. Obviously, you don't want to carry it everywhere you go, but it is pretty light. It's not hard for you to throw into your truck, into your car if you're gonna go camping. It seems great. You have the, like I said, on the top, you have the solar charger. I'm sorry, the wireless charger. I could throw that on there and it's charging. It seems to be very particular though where you have it. So they've got that little box that I showed you in the beginning, and it has to be right over that box for it to start charging. And it is doing that. Let me see. I press okay, so when you tap that, it doesn't turn it off, it just brings up the screen. So there you go. Tapping it once will bring back the screen. You see the percentage now is 46 because now it's discharging to my phone and the laptop, and it tells you how long it can do that for. It looks like I'm gonna guess 12, around roughly about 12 hours is how long it will be able to maintain that. From the way that it's looking, it may not seem like a long time to be able to maintain, something, uh, running like that for that amount of time. Um, But nonetheless, at 100%, this is capable of holding on your refrigerator for like about 4 hours. So, and keep in mind, a refrigerator is not running all the time. Similar to like an AC that shuts off after a certain period of time. It juices on, then it shuts down, then it juices on. So things like that. This is supposed to also be able to handle things. From my understanding, I believe I can handle a microwave. And that might be on the higher end because microwaves do take a lot of juice, but you could definitely handle a portable heater. So a few suggestions that you could use this for. If you're the kind of person who wants to set up, say, like a tiny home kind of setup, or even like you want to set up a what do we call that again? A shed in your yard, and you want to turn it to almost like a man cave kind of setup where not just storage, but you want to have a little setup in it, maybe a desk, a little a couch, and stuff like that. You could put this in there, run some wires to have the solar panel on top, and where it's getting good sun, and this can be your main source of power. In addition to that, you can run a heater, and all types of things. Of this, a mini refrigerator shouldn't be a problem. So things of that sort. So this is great for that kind of stuff. Um, yeah, and that's pretty much it for right now as far as any of the details. Like I said, I'm looking at the web page right now. It says it's funny. They say it right here on the web page as one of the advertisements on the Amazon page. I'm sorry. Like I said, link's going to be in the description below. It says avoid food spoilage in your refrigerator. So yes. And here, the way they're advertising it says enjoy 10 to 12 hours of refrigerated use on a single charge. So I don't know how true that is. I'm sure that varies based on different things. Right here, it's saying um, refrigerator 1,500 watt is what they're showing a little image of. So I guess that is saying if that is the refrigerator type of how much it's discharging. Because keep in mind, like I said before, refrigerator doesn't run constantly. I am in my kitchen right now. You don't hear the refrigerator on. It The refrigerator generally will cool things down and then it will turn off after a while. Um, so it says right here, as an example, too, it says entertainment without interruption. It says power of 55O LED TV, lights, and Wi Fi router for 6 to 7 hours. And the way it's displaying the power outage on them is that the TV is using 110 watts, the lamp is 10 watts, the Wi-Fi is 10 watts. So it's saying you could run all those things for that amount of time. The refrigerator uses many more watts, so that tells you that it's because it stops running after, it shuts off after a certain amount of time. It continues to cool. A few other things that they have listed on the page is efficient grilling. It says you can use electric grill. 1,100 watts, and it says a grill a perfect meal in 17 minutes would use about 20% of the usage or the energy. Which, like I said, if you're outside and you're doing that, you got the solar panel. For the most part, you're almost going to use nothing because the solar panel is doing 200 watts of charging. To the best of my knowledge, 200 watts of charging, generally speaking, because it all depends on how much sunlight it's getting. But generally speaking, about 200 watts of charging. Maybe if that's per hour, I'm not really too sure. But quick and easy meals, it says. So it says cook pasta and cheese with 25% battery. It says electric stove, 800 watts, 25% usage. So just going over a couple of examples here. You got, it says power your cooler, keep cool, comfort all night. So it's showing an image of a motor RV, and it says the cooler is doing 30 watts. That's taking 28 percentage. So if you got the cooler, it looks like it's like outside of the RV, and the person has like a cooler outside of the RV in this kind of camping setting. Uh, Power your portable refrigerator. Powering a portable refrigerator in this example, one that looks like it's probably like maybe 2 feet off the floor. It says 60% usage of the refrigerator, and it will power it like all day. 55-quart refrigerator says, so a small one. It'll power that all day. And the last example it gives, it says productive workday. Power your 65 watt laptop for 12 hours, which you just seen that my laptop takes a wattage of 30 watts. So it was saying something to the a range of over 14 something hours. At the time, it was saying 16 hours, but because I'm also charging the cell phone at the same time and my light at this, no, yeah, I'm charging my studio light. I am charging my cell phone on top, and I'm charging the laptop at the same time, which is why it's at 14 hours. But yes, so that is, legit with what they say. And the last thing it says, ultimate gaming setup, run multiple devices for 3 hours, PS5, Roku TV, modern Switch OLED. No, I'm sorry, modem and Switch OLED, Xbox Series S, HDD. So it's saying you can run all these things all at the same time to run your gaming setup all at one time. Maybe if you have it in a space where you don't have any kind of power outlets or anything like that. It goes on further to say AC input will charge 1,440 watt max, charge for 65% capacity in 30 minutes. So you have that. You could use a generator, a gas generator, to charge it up, which I wouldn't even bother. I would just, for that, get the solar one. And then here it tells you the solar PV input, fully charged. And so if you were doing the 500 watt one, it says fully charged in 2.8 to 3.3 hours. So the 200 one, like I said before, I saw it say something about like 4 to 6 hours, something in that range. Now, obviously, it's kind of advertisement can be, maybe a little off depending on exactly, but for the most part, um, that should be the case. Also, I'm seeing here that there's an app, so you can use an app if you need to. Let's see. Yeah, so that's roughly about it from all the things on it. Like I said, they do have options for smaller ones. Personally, me, if you're going for something that is going to be like a generator replacement to kind of like save your food from going bad from your refrigerator or having a major blackout, that's going to be a couple hours, I definitely would say consider this one or larger. This one has a great value because it's right in that sweet spot where I think the bigger one above this starts to go in that range of um, over $1,000. So 1,000 some change. So with that, I know it could get a little pricey, but and really big after the fact of that too. But with that being said, the smaller ones are, I think, considerably smaller. Yeah, I think I'm looking at it right now. The next stage up that has the same form factor is about $2,000, and it's 2,073 watt hours. So this is kind of the one before it, and this is like 500, $600, and a little less on sale. So this to me is a great middle ground. But if you go smaller than this, just know that you're not using it as a generator replacer. You're really just using that as just a little power bank to maybe go out, maybe camping, this and that, but you're not using it to replace for big things. But like I said, link's gonna be in the description down below, you guys. With that being said, you guys like, share, comment as always, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.